Here's a recap of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. We open with IMF agent Trevor Hannaway obtaining Russian nuclear codes and making his escape. However, he is killed in the process by assassin Sabine Monroe, who steals the Russian nuclear launch codes to sell them to a man named Cobalt. IMF agent Ethan Hunt is extracted from a Moscow prison along with an assay named Bogdan by Hannaway's handler and girlfriend Jane Carter and newly promoted field agent Benji Dunn. The team is ordered to infiltrate the Kremlin for information on Cobalt. While they are inside, Cobalt blows the team's cover and they escape before a bomb destroys the Kremlin. Ethan is arrested by SVR agent Sidrov and is blamed for the bombing. Ethan easily escapes as he is an IMF agent and meets with the IMF security in Moscow with analyst William Brandt. Brandt identifies Cobalt as Kurt Hendricks, a strategist seeking nuclear war between the U.S. and Russia. They determine that Hendricks bombed the Kremlin to cover his theft of a Russian launch control device. The secretary explains that the president has initiated the Ghost Protocol, disavowing the IMF. He then secretly orders Ethan to continue pursuing Cobalt before being killed by an ambush by Sidrov's forces. Ethan escapes with Brandt and regroups with Jane and Benji in a secret IMF stronghold on a train. They grab some equipment as they plan to infiltrate a meeting between Hendricks' associate Winstrom and Moreau at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, where Winstrom will buy the stolen launch codes. Ethan must scale the building to secure Benji's link to control the tower's internal systems, and because nothing is easy for Ethan, he has to perform a spectacular aerial maneuver to complete this task. The team plans to intercept the codes by faking two meetings, Ethan and Brandt posing as Winston and Leonard Lysinker, a cryptographer, to receive the codes from Monroe. Jane poses as Monroe, passing the counterfeit codes to the real Winston and Lysinker. Unfortunately, they are forced to give the actual codes when they discover that Lysinker can immediately authenticate them, relying on radioactive isotopes on the paper to track Winstrom afterwards. Completing the buy, Winstrom double-crosses and murders Lysinker. Having deduced that the buy is a setup, Monroe attempts to flee, but Jane intercepts her. When Monroe attacks Benji while trying to escape, in a rage, Jane attacks Monroe. Brandt overhears the gunfire and rushes into the room, but fails to stop Jane from killing Monroe. Sidrov attempts but fails to apprehend Ethan, who flees and pursues Winstrom. As Ethan and Winstrom run into a sandstorm, Winstrom reveals himself to be a masked Hendricks and escapes. Meanwhile, Jane and Benji confront Brandt over the advanced fighting skills that he has displayed at the hotel. Brandt admits he has resigned as a field agent after failing to protect Julia, Ethan's wife, from a hit. Bogdan takes Ethan to the Fog, an arms dealer, and learns that Hendricks is planning to launch a missile using an old Soviet military satellite. The satellite is owned by an Indian media tycoon, Nath. The Fog sells the same information to Sidrov in Mumbai. Jane seduces Nath, then overpowers him to get the satellite's override code. The team pursues Hendricks and Winstrom to one of Nath's broadcast stations to stop him from sending the codes via satellite. Hendricks sends launch codes over to a Russian nuclear submarine to fire a missile at San Francisco, while Winstrom sabotages the station's system to prevent IMF's interference. Benji, Brandt, and Jane attempt to repair the station while Ethan pursues Hendricks. Cornered by Ethan, Hendricks jumps off a high ledge to place the launch device out of reach. After Benji kills Winstrom, Jane reconnects the system and Ethan retrieves the launch device to disable the missile moments before detonation.
Mission accomplished!
A fatally wounded Hendricks witnesses the failure of his plan before dying. Sidrov arrives and realizes the IMF was innocent of the Kremlin bombing. In Seattle, Ethan assembles his team for another mission given by Luther. Brandt confesses to Ethan of his failure to protect Julia, but Ethan reveals that she is alive and her death was staged to give her a new identity safely away from him and to let him infiltrate the prison to find Bogdan. A relieved Brandt accepts the mission. Julia arrives and smiles at Ethan from afar before he slips away and receives another IMF briefing.
Thank you so much to Brad from Canada from the Scene Invaders Podcast for doing this recap. Consider subscribing to my channel and their channel. They do a really good job of just breaking down movies and TV shows in a really chill way. Also, consider becoming a member of the channel. That would help me out. And if you want to be really cool, I have merch, so you can buy that too.